Are you commuting back and forth? So, 35-minute drive or something?
Yeah, but what's going to happen today?
Oh,
is,
yeah, that's fun.
It's his lunchtime, so they'll get an hour for lunch, and so we're going to actually stop at 12:30 today. So then 12:30 we want to begin as well as lunch. You're right, I did say that yesterday, but the time switched a little bit. Plug this in?
Stand up, sorry, unless you can jam this in above your plug. And
Sorry, buddy.
sure.
Thank you so much.
So let's see if
I'm
I
getting rid of this because this just makes noise.
You know what? Another time. That's used during the week here, but
We can stick it in the
yeah,
back.
it could maybe go in the
back is
back so that
better, yeah.
Virginia has
Because I
access.
just knocked into it.
I get it. I totally get it. Well, let's see if that person's in.
See, it's wobbling.
I'm gonna do something. Yes.
Oh,
I
so
guess
choice.
everyone's camped out.
Yeah. Yeah, both. Well, yeah, both of them are fine. If this one's not too close to the candle, I don't know.
You have a picture of something?
I don't have. Yes. Yes.
Just so you know.
What's this last thing?
That's under the awning right now.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that's really amazing.
I want to show his face, his card, and then go. And whatever else you have, I just took some.
Okay. Yep. Wherever you like it. Yeah, wherever you like it. I just put it there just for the time being.
Telling you, man, that lung is like hell weak.
Why? It's because it's so
Eric and I were
late at
talking about
night.
it. This is how the SEALs get you to quit training. Like at 2:30 left.
It just goes on and on and on and on and on.
He is a machine.
Yeah. How long is the each night?
It's from 11 to 3 with a 15-minute break in
Wow.
between.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a good
He
idea.
puts it on and goes to sleep.
Into your
I love it.
Sambhogakaya.
I love it. As he's floating in dream world, it's like vibrations. Yeah, I get how sleep deprivation is. I'm like the guy who's only not eaten for a day, and I'm like, I get cannibalism. It's extreme. All right, are we all in? Should I get in?
Everything's good, yeah. I just have to transform these files. That's it.
Right, and then make me. Oh, I can go up there.
Yep. Either
I
way.
can do. Gotta stop turning down past so they're not presidential.
Hi, guys. Damien, you're broadcasting. Are you aware of that?
Oh, me. Oh, personally.
She means James.
Oh, we've been talking over Zoom and
Hi,
everything.
you're James, too.
Hi, people.
And YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I'll mute my mic.
Okay. All righty.
Nicola, Nicola Javier, Javier.
Guru Yoga practices. But at the same time,
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes we forget about that. Thanks. Is that? Okay, so we can begin with the opening prayers on page 1 of the prayer book, and we'll do once in English and once in Tibetan. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
Love.
Jangchubling, in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Page 6. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
Yes,
page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the three realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the five wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind, transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequal Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of two-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the three worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the three levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. So then back to page 9. Is it? Yeah. Eight in the Tibetan. On page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attaining Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. Page 16, right? Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Oh,
Good morning.
So before we get started, I'm very excited about something, which is that when I went to look up more information about Lapchi Namka Gyaltsen, I found that his life story has been translated. So anyway, it's available, and in fact, they even have one, it looks like available on Amazon, but otherwise, I don't know, do they sell them through that website?
Yeah, you can get
Oh.
You can get them directly from the center. I think in order a few copies.
Oh, you ordered a few copies already.
Yeah.
Great.
There might be some back there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it on?
It's on, I think. Yeah. Maybe it could be a little louder.
That's already
Into it.
It's already.
Yes, John?
Is there a current Drupton of Lapchi?
Oh, a Dordzin? Yes, right. Isn't it Dundurpalden?
Yeah.
Yeah. The current Dundurpalden? Yeah.
So it's in continuity with this always.
The top part is Sarva.
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Repeat questions.
Oh, do you think that there's any way that you guys, because I find that really challenging, but maybe if you could summarize the question and just put it in the chat, is that too
The problem
difficult?
is you have to follow your translation simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
我在听的，里头真的的的小贴皮头那东西啊，里头这趟可算去讲训吧，这趟的 Buddha 세야 지다다 제당 좀 망백 추라 가리걸 슬라비나 이제 토바 아치사직 당 공바 치사직 요르와 됩니다. 지 토바 치사들라 예다스 라비오리 콜레지 틀리야 캠보던 네 두아 치사 틀라 두다 티지다 티냐들라 코랑 지 냠라이 같은 게 틀리지 용비어와 용비어레스
So in general, traditionally speaking, there's been kind of two like paths of focus when it comes to practicing the Buddha Dharma. So one is really kind of with the emphasis of hearing or study, which often involves, entering Shebra. And then as a result of really developing a lot of knowledge and experience through that path of study, then there are those who become scholars that then can teach others, like Kempos. And then you have the other kind of focus or emphasis being that of primarily practice. And so somebody who then, based on their experience in really perfecting the practices, then they become Drupans or retreat masters who then guide others in the experience of practice.
가르치는 단다 가장 쉬운 거다. 조티나나 나서다 네 딱냐만도 위비나다 저번에 텐송공네 고조지 나서 내좀게 나고 son다. 제당 보이나리 자가리나리 다 아직 나서 holy place 네사 몽보지 요리 이내야 다 디케나네 내좀 세야데 가르세는 자르당 강레 납치 세야데 내좀 차디가 있어. 이양한테는
And so also with regard to this, so Lord Jigten Sumgun also began kind of this trend in sort of I think he started to talk about something else, but I sort of respect, but I think this is how it connects. Practitioners is mainly practicing in these like specific holy places in great numbers. So first then there are many very holy places throughout Tibet and India, but among all these holy places, there are kind of the three, that are the most widely renowned and very special holy places, which are Lapji, Tsari, and Mount Kailash.
어떻게 산에 좀 세야다. 다 제방아서 다티 코니 숨자들이야. 히말라յան քրիջի չադի օր다 լապչին կանը մուչին դավինա վես չադի օրի դենե լապչին դավինա դա ջիմալու center չադի օրի դենե ծարինա far east 이네 야다 티 갑로 저번지 다 숨공 갑로 오이다 티 코지 아때완도 오치 코티 네 솜테와 와토비 기네 양코 completely entire Himalayan Kasakhalat something in Yasarawa, and something at the Chikujili young, the wasn't the chicken, near really young, the company needs to be down with what somebody, or that indicate Jachimbuji or is.
Niti, 21,000 or 20,000? So Mount Kailash is mainly sort of the holy place in the west part on western Tibet. Lapchi is sort of in the center, and Sari is to the far east. But during the time of Lord Jigten Sumgun, these three were considered to be like the navel kind of, or the centers, the main kind of like hubs of spiritual practice of these holy places. However, at that time, there were so many of his disciples who were practicing in retreat. They were really, all over the Himalayas, like throughout the entire mountain range, with these kind of 3 holy centers as the hubs. And during that time, also Lord Jigten Sumgön sent 20,000 of his disciples to each of these 3 holy places, Rebe, to practice there. Yeah.
3 holy place la in Baina, 3 holy place la we already in complete entire Himalayan region.
So they, I see, and so
men sit no some you already in
so the main seat are these 3 holy places, the main kind of hubs of the holy place, but the entire Himalayan mountain range is holy. So that like everywhere that one practices is a holy place. Within the mountain. No, what that?
The holy place then somebody to Kasakal entire.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Okay.
But the holy place Yimbala, the practitioner Yoba.
The holy thing.
Yes, so they are holy, but the main point being that they're practitioners or were practitioners, like littering the entire, or that's not the right word, but all over the entire mountain range. Yeah.
That and the get it kind of chunguris and I was that team can't that be holy ke that 3 place to la Karsana, Dupont Sayati, Kasala imba, Dupont Hemba and Mandawa, Dunzi Sayata, the Mixi Taku, that Jetan Chivina, that go Dupont of the Chago, or a Yamlet Chivas and Mazivike, no Yamtopa de Poo or one. Yina Yanda, Dunzin Dongan, the Gone a Corapeta, top nose, angry, yes, didn't teen it on the Yamada winner, didn't teen found your.
So these 3 places also had great masters who were the retreat masters, or the Drupans who provided instruction to practitioners, and mainly that of this sort of highest caliber of retreat master, which is Dordzin, which literally means Vajra master or Vajra holder. And so those who received that title would be sent to these 3 holy places. So they had to be, at a level where they really had a pretty exceptionally high level of experience and realization, and they would receive that title. They would be enthroned as a Dordzin at the seat of the Drikung Kagyu, which is Drikung Til Monastery, and then they would be sent to one of these 3 holy places.
He doesn't get to the Troya and John love the thunder. Dunzisia, Tea on that in it, get a tour. In that tiny current Dunzite, Karchayo de Lavina, Pechaman, Chiton, Gujia, Pechaman, Butcher, Pecha Cochelo inside it, some Cochek Lola, Jangwang Wucheke, Tanaka. That the Gomba Monichi, Gomba Chatham Poyoma, not complete. Yin and Yang, in a Jangchubling, some shit Yabiwa, some shit that one with some part of someone, which you go to your yes. Something.
So the Katla Yang Dordzin Yurve? No, okay, lesson. So the reason why he's going into this is based on John Allen's question about, whether there's currently a Dordzin, or what he brought up, about whether there's currently a Dordzin at Lapchi. And so what happened is in 1991, His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche, so he was in the process of building the monastery of Jangchubling. It wasn't yet complete. But then there was like a retreat area in it's like for Samtinling, right, where there were 3 meditation huts, and the 4th one being the retreat hut or the retreat house of Drong Rinpoche.
Oh, that indeed job, Chine. That take up la.
Oh, I'm sorry. There were 4, and then with Drong Rinpoche there were 5. And at that time, there were 4 retreatants who went into retreat there.
Oh, that thing that retreat to go to exactly, but I can go to Kony. For that tea gabla, that's samba is.
And so it was about maybe 1992 that these 4 retreatants went into retreat.
Or that in the Tigala Jik Karsana, Yamanganyam to skipped Yungre or Yungan and Namchatsia, the Namjat Cordon, the current Dunzi Tonobande, Temaimi Tawani,
And so those 4 who went into retreat, one of them was a friend that Drban had escaped from Tibet with. So we crossed, into India, or they were on that journey together. His name was Namchak Dorje. And then another one was the current Dorzen, Dundar Palden. And then there were 2 other monks who were also among those 4 who went into retreat.
Jangchubling la this warrior, the low songs to that, the 5 for the part Mahamudra, the Chatanji key or this. Talo songs for
the Changchubling.
Tine that issue la, Tine Tangara need to do ye hit periodic, before you hear pebne, Tine to point you hear pebne, that to point you hear gay, before you hear Dupont and the current is the Tondo Pandantan. Yang and the Ninyam to Yungan Namjat Dorje, Timaimbi, Tawani, Timata, Tawadaga Yorwa, Tabunga, the Wotang studies and the told the Wotang studies and told the Wotang is Tene, that tell Naruchuru, or a piece of lecture is.
Lepchi. And so then they took a longer period than usual to do the practices. So meaning, they really focused on doing the progressive stages of the 5-fold path of Mahamudra over a period of 3 years. So just the 5-fold path of Mahamudra. And then Drban Yishi, who was also Drban Rinpoche's retreat master, he arrived, and then there was a special group that was selected from Jangchubling to go to Lapchi to practice with him, under him, to practice the 6 yogas of Naropa. And among these were the same the retreatant who had also done the 5-fold path of Mahamudra and also escaped with Drban from Tibet, who is Namchak Dorje, and then also Dorzen Dundar Palden, also Tragar Rinpoche, who used to be here in America and has since returned to Tibet, and there were some others. Yeah, some others, but there were six monks.
Namcha Dorje Tang, the current and the Tono Bandani complete 6 yoga Naroba. Under the Tupongi in the Lapchina Tama.
But actually, ultimately, it was really just these 2, Namchak Dorje and Dundar Palden, who ended up doing, really completing and doing the full course of the 6 yogas of Naropa, intimately with Drban Yeshe there at that time in Lapchi.
딱 Consort page 틀린데 차 요사리다 page 맨날 그거는 오더니 납치는 차 요사로 이나야 단 도르도 휴이나 어디 휴라도 좀 다다 너무 참아다니 이나 강다야 니 통째라 근데 다 조금 통도 반대 근데 납치 금지 방법이 yes.
And so then he continued to stay in Lapchi.
No, 니 통째 2000.
And it was actually then in the year 2000 that then Dundut Palden was made the Dordzin of Lapchi. And he pretty much stayed in retreat in Lapchi that whole time, right?
So then he sensed the retreat, I think, 1992. So from 1992, he did the retreat. So
Yes.
until
Pretty much
these
now.
days now.
Wow.
So that's he saying this. So we just say our story.
There's a footnote here in the text. According to Rinchen Dorje, it should be read this way because emptiness compassion. It's at the after the dedication in your translation.
Yeah.
Rinchen Dorje also Drupal.
Yeah, it's Drupan Rinchen Dorje. Did I say Rinchen Dorje and not put his title?
It says Drupal Rinchen
Yeah.
Dorje. So that he's extant, and
Yes, yes.
that's the Rinchen Dorje
He's in Chicago. Yeah.
has the big.
Yeah.
Figure that.
Yeah.
That's we are group, same group.
Yeah. And they're from the same hometown. They actually grew. I mean, Drupan, I think, was there when he was born, when Drupan Rinchen Dorje was born. They've like known each other their whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's we this Almora. So then, so there's two things. Oh, that is that no more story. That getang as a terida, getang Kazan Shuimba. Chudo Sidu G Pena particular Nambe Chudo Labu Jigda be living the Jigda young mena a jig Tindi Kimaris. Tindu Koji Jikan DK Kanda Yang Kazan Shuana Yiri. Neka Dichin Junia Tabiga, Tato Dichin Junia Tap. Tini lost your marriage. Tinijin Papo is. They that you drop Labdu. She believe no Marwa. Rajik way of life. Tindike, Tindelian Pembado Yadan. He Tatok Pembado Yad Tinijin.
So when it comes to practicing the Dharma, it isn't something, that is like, kind of something we have to relegate to the area of like faith and belief. But actually it is, Dharma practice is a way of life. Okay, so just it isn't just like something.
So also this Buddhism practice is I said maybe just not only something belief. So so that means something belief. You really study this okay, that doesn't matter. Maybe okay, background, okay, I'm Christian, I'm this religion, that religion, I believe that's okay, So this not only focusing just something you not believe. Where Buddhism focus is the benefits temporarily or means this life in the long run. So then we temporarily sometimes not happy. What is obstacle? Where come from difficulties? And also as well as we want to long run, maybe achieve, Buddhahood, but what is obstacles? Not get to realization. But that teeny thing of that, love your is. Tindy contribute on yeta, Tindy JK, ko, Dechi Matobia Tela, Kasana, so Kasan Yokuana. Number topa, Rankin, Namto, Kyuchimuji, you with Jim Center again. Tinenatoji, Devo, say a Jikusa, Sajan of the Ragu. But I'm talking about what's a Trovayo, same. Songen same, Namto same, same Yungui, the other same Yungui. Yinaya, Penangaso Lago, Dichi go do some glory. Yinaya, Dichi Jusaji. Pena, Tona, but Namto continuation, Namto Yubina. Dichi Jus such a point, you're my quality Dichico. Then, even though, temperature, nice weather, good food, but still there's no space. Enjoy, you cannot fail to enjoy. Sorry, that's the
Yeah. So in any case, like between these two, we mainly, the main thing is that we have this constant stream of proliferating thought forms. So even though we really desire to be happy, we really wish for well-being, as long as there's just the unbroken continuity of getting all tangled up with the proliferation of discursive thought, then there's no place for that well-being to land. There's no way to there's no place for the well-being. So because we're always reacting to the temporary thoughts that are the continuous thoughts that are continually drifting through the mind. So it's always up and down. And then even though, there's the wish for well-being and happiness in the mind, we can think, I really want to be happy. But as long as, we're still kind of at the mercy of the continuity of discursive thought or proliferating thoughts, then we won't really have true happiness. We won't be able to be truly happy. And so even temporarily, we can have moments of happiness, that we can eat nice food, and there are periods where everything is great and things are going well, but we're still kind of at the mercy of conditions and our thoughts. And so therefore, we don't really experience, we don't achieve true happiness.
There's no space.
Because there's no space because of the thoughts.
All right. So I said, okay, interesting, right? So feels like I said external thing, right? So okay. Sort of like first, thinking feels good, or maybe good food, or maybe good place, or maybe good temperature, good weather, right? But then, yes, we can feel like that. So we just kind of keep going, this happiness stay there. But no, then it destroys the concept. Then the concept not feeling, good things. There are other things, just somewhere, maybe thinking problems, or maybe hurry, or maybe worry. Something wishing, So this cannot stay together, in the stream, the mind.
In the mind stream?
Yeah, mind stream. So every moment change, right? So even though your conditions and perfect, but the concept change, So you maybe first buy, okay, delicious, right? The second thought, maybe something else. Oh, maybe what do we do tomorrow? Whereas your delicious food is gone, So that's this issue. I said, not whatever you believe, that's fine. You're religious or whatever. That's fine. But we only focus what is our own obstacles. So that's what we need to change. So first we have to understand what they're doing. I said yesterday, what I am doing, So, but also I said, you really need to make, okay, in order to get relax, less, joy, happy, or bliss, whatever, we have to make space, okay? You buy the furniture, fancy, expensive furniture, okay? So we throw in the words, outside the rain, what happened, So yes, we have to do these good furniture, fancy ones, expensive ones. So then where we put, okay? We have to space, we have to use. So everyone wish happy, okay? I want happy.
Everybody wishes to be happy.
Happy, yes. That's okay, we can try to make happy. But you have to space your in stream or this.
In the mind stream?
The mind stream. So that's most important, okay? So otherwise, I say this, we have like expensive, fancy things, but we no space. Then they're useless,
So, actually, you mentioned yesterday in the visualization manual, it's from in our text from Ngur Gelton. Visualizing oneself as Chenrezig. This you said it's like Tonglen, but Jigten Sungdong made a stipulation that there's a difference in practice, and I was thinking about that last night. It was so you said you have to have the endurance, and
Yes.
that was how you translated it at least. So, to be able to know your capacity with regard to how much external, differentiation, utilizing things overcome with regard to how many, what is your
Yes, I understand.
capacity?
Yes.
So where does that endurance
Right.
come from?
So you understand how much your capacity.
Oh, right. I have to repeat. Sorry.
Summarize it.
Summarize how much capacity. So that's it.
So with regard to what
level.
was brought up yesterday and sort of the distinction about the different kinds of Tonglen practice. So Jigten Sungdong taught this Tonglen practice where there's this difference, and then Drong was saying that with regard to sort of traditional Tonglen practice, there is the danger of if your capacity is not able to endure the suffering that you're actually trying to take on or invite, that this, I'm sort of clarifying what I understood.
That's essentially.
Yeah, then, and then the question was, how do you know what your capacity is?
Well, where not only that, but
Yes.
where does one acquire?
How does one get to that?
Right.
There's maybe it's Ngur. There's
Yeah, you. In that and that area, that and that case, that and that could be no now you could China do what is. King ko personality could say it, Kasangela imba. You might dangzi mina, maybe Chikala, but I say it level. In a Yantana Koti, dangzi you Hindu, then a penetration and also your bed, and also doing Mando Yaki, your Karigi listener, Kungasola, dangzi your. In a Konima, that could reach or not, personal, but dangzi here my Jagaba. Dangzi my partner would have been your man the China like this.
So the most important thing is that we have to work on diminishing the mind of self-grasping. That is where that quality comes from, is the diminishment of self-grasping. There is tremendous courage that comes when there is no self-grasping. But if there's, and that being, free of self-grasping is kind of that what signifies having that capacity. And so, as we, for instance, in regard to all beings not wanting to suffer, we don't want to suffer. We don't want to suffer, but we can't help the fact that we suffer. Why is it that we can't help the fact that we suffer? It's because of our self-grasping. So we can't, we continue to suffer because self-grasping is there. When there is no self-grasping, then there is no suffering. And so therefore you can also bear the suffering of others.
Okay, the most important part, okay? Karelavina. Nato deva doglo lame. Nato deva tuyachi fight chigroa. Naji gugido, Nade gugido, Samiaji data, Tamsama young, Koji Sasan inade, Yaji go Togo inade, Tindijek Tondala, Danga Jichigu, Yahochigu, some Chilola fighting the Chilio. In a ticket, they took marriage, when they took your marriage. In a digital consumer, when a fighting chiaki, lot party Tamina, didn't want a digital the others.
So we have really opposite kind of inclinations or tendencies about how to get happiness or how to be happy. So we kind of fight for it because we think, I need this, I want this, I deserve this. And so then there's conflict, that happens in trying to get what you want, whether it's like in your family life, or if it's, between friends, there's the, I need this, I want this. And then the approach is to sort of fight for what you want. And the irony of that is that the fighting is not achieving what you want. And so that will never get you happiness and well-being. So you have to give up that fighting mind. And when you give up that fighting mind that's just striving so hard to achieve what you want, then you find happiness.
Right, so this we see the bigger wheel, countries. Each country, one there, they wanting there. Every single country, they wish achieves, something of power. So that's why fight. And the start of fight really is the what it means, how much you losing the own life in countries, money, focus, subject. So really, is the really reality is really nothing winning. Even though some they work defeat, some they yes, go ordinarily, some lose, some win. But even the winner, what they get, always losing. So, and if very, very important, cares others, if have everyone,
To care for others.
other country, other person. If have, then maybe no issues, like even the country, each other. So we really kind of, that's just I hoping, okay, just we understand, but we maybe know where to change. But otherwise, like for example, all the countries, how much expensive militaries, weapons.
Mhm.
That's every single country most expensive. Okay, they use make road, whatever, something, but all focus and money using the military.
Mhm.
Okay. So if I say they not fight each other, so that money, even the United States money, they take care entire country, poor people, Maybe there's no poor country or no poor people. Maybe no issues, But that's we see, everybody actually can see, right? Same way, individual, or families, relatives, friends. So wishing something, winning something, and the fight, it's not working. So really need to happy to get something. The first give up. That's really hard, right? When you get up, you get it. Without a fight, I said maybe never get it. Maybe worse condition, worse and worse. So this one thing is very simple, right? But one thing is it looks like impossible. But we have to learning again and again. So also we think I said yesterday, we change all side things, Very hard. Very hard. Maybe Dharma, maybe can change some little bit, right? But really is we try to change our mind, okay? So slowly. So that's possible. We have a way to change.
Yes, thank you, Judah. So you make the point of beings maybe in a family situation, or friends, or work, or nations, or something like that. But even being a human being becomes a fight. There is a fight being a human being. And to be able to transcend that human nature beyond human being is really what we're trying to attain for ourselves, isn't it?
That was fairly loud. Is there do we think maybe it was picked up or?
No.
Okay.
No, it's only one.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is always such a challenge to reword what somebody says. Drong mentioned, that we fight in a family situation, we fight as friends, we fight in maybe our workplace, we fight a country, countries fight each other. But then it sounds like Lance is saying also that just merely to be embodied as a human being has this quality or this nature of struggle or fighting in it. So part of the objective is to transcend that fighting or that human nature altogether.
And also perplexed with this conundrum. Where do you start?
인제 kita sanji kisong sanji shakcha to be kitemba timetatis the shakchen temba ngachen say some drink the shakcha to be kitemba the lati korang shida some no matang de ngi hen le ma hen some no matang la ji ko some dang hen yoris on the that teni no yoris.
So yeah, absolutely. Even during sometimes it's said that the era or the time period of the Buddha Shakyamuni was, I don't know the difference between Ngache and Ngatsin.
Ngache means not thinking others.
Like it was the period of I am great, I am important. And even during the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni, no.
Our error.
Right. Oh, sorry. In this entire era of the period in which the Buddha Shakyamuni appeared and his teachings endure, until they no longer endure. So that period is called the period of I am great, I am important.
So that's why decreasing this
And
age and wealth. That's why decreasing.
so the period of degeneration, the decline, and so what that indicates is that yes, there is this kind of it is not a natural tendency to think of others, particularly about the beings of this time period. It's mostly preoccupation and concern for oneself.
Mm-hmm. And then when the Buddha met you at Tamla, I think ngajam kojam jadi 칼라지 사이가 초랑사스 로디오나 초랑콘스 라비아치네 테네 could increase in chakra well karina.
So then when Buddha Maitreya appears, then it's said that then we will enter into a period of increase, the increase of abundance. And that time period, the period of the duration of his teachings is called Najam Kojam.
Yeah.
So like, I am gentle, you are gentle? No.
Maybe only concerning others, basically.
But the meaning being, it's the opposite. It will be a period where beings are so much concerned with the welfare of one another that it's something along the nature of there's one piece of food and it's like, no, I'm not going to eat it, please you eat it. Or there's no clothing, I won't take this clothing, please you have the clothing. And so that is kind of the mind state of beings. I would like to translate the literal words. Ngajam kojam. How?
Okay, ngajam kojam.
Yeah.
Okay, ngajam kojam means nye chorang chambu chigiro.
Oh, yeah. So it is. It's like I'm gentle, you're gentle, because it's like you're gentle towards and kind to others, and others are also gentle and kind to you. So it's like we're a period where beings are gentle and kind to one another.
Like for example, so this this food. Okay, we don't worry about food this country, but so maybe. One meal, two people
One
may be
meal.
very hungry, so situation. So the other man said, please you eat, are you okay? So this. The other said, no, you eat, So this comes
If I can just follow up and just say one thing about what Jangchubling just said, and that was that during that time of greatness, there were many, many people who were great and many, many people who were holy. Is that correct? And that the degeneration was that fewer and fewer people were holding that greatness in their hearts and so on. And where we are now, but we can still, as evolved as to whatever degree that we can be enlightened, we are getting back to that greatness through our simplicity, because things were very simple then. And then things that became more and more complicated, thereby making all this thoughtfulness, this continuing thoughts, and so on. So the element that's important is the space that Jangchubling has been speaking about, and that's where we can attain that greatness for ourselves as we move forward. So.
That's a lot for me to try to repeat. And it didn't seem like a question, so I think,
bring a microphone.
Yeah, we're going to have to sort of like find a way to resolve this. I think. Yeah. So it sounds like in brief what you're saying is there's potential, like we can change, sort of in a nutshell.
Ultimately, yes. And the point was that then there was much greatness. Now there's not greatness. But we need to be able to reclaim our greatness.
So ngoma yana pena sanje shake to bagitula the be tenda the sangma yang nune chine tenda mi yapo zangbo yopa kongtesa go tom yasarwa teni de tening da nga so tena niktu khala du ine yang char de chewa yapo chaya ki koka yore Tini nga so yang yapo chaya che
Ina ta tira wate. Really, tigare.
Yes.
Right,
I
absolutely.
That question.
Yeah.
My parents are very simple people, and they're a lot happier than I am.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not a simple person. I mean, it's like I don't know if that is.
So simple,
that's
yun na.
kind of the
Tini
idea.
dewa lep kere changuma laba dangsin. Tini kongi pama de be kare la ko kare be simple drago yore. Kong simple drago yomare. Tini kong dugna yore.
Yes.
I mean simple in the best possible connotation. They're not stupid. I don't mean that, but they're like just very uncomplicated.
Ina ta tangi kong ta dori get back to the main subject because ta zo karsan terida. Na zo ko zo semke number topic chile karchi wa ta ti no osamo tango ko. Pena namdo se ya de pemisi show chimbo wa. Te indu tindi jela karsana ko pena 죄송해. pena number topa seyaji show pe chimbore. Number topa seyati pena ngaji gogdo somebody ki moni tane chiko lui dan semni bod peta tutu hipstan boda penson ro ji shubina pena meji ni ku mewina ni mako moni ti ni mako na nam to me ni ku no wa ni nga ni ku go some 1 second nam to ti ni ku ya me so lo wa ata tienda okay number to pati ni ga ta for one example wa 그가 나기 number to sambo to pa yuna sambo to pare 그가 나기 남도 매회 토디나 르르 소도 우리 나자 배는 캔슬라서 나자 자기 와로
De namto zambo.
다 남도 삼보다 남도 매와 내 두고요나 one focus 지 두고요나 저다 남도 년반을 보이나 고지 일을 두고 됐어.
So in brief, so the true nature of mind is free of, the contamination of discursive thought. And so to learn to abide, without being in the identification with the stream of temporary, the discursive thoughts, because discursive thoughts are concepts, thoughts in general, they're very powerful. And so if we, the moment that we think like, I need something, I want something, it is, affects our body, it affects our mind. We're completely, kind of disconnected from, present moment experience. And so you can see, for instance, if somebody wants to sleep, for instance, but they can't sleep, and if there aren't any thoughts in the mind, then you can go to sleep, like if you don't have a lot of thinking. But if the moment there's a thought like, oh, I really need to sleep, that I really need to sleep immediately blocks the potential for sleep. So this is just one example. But in any case, it's a process of learning to either and both abide within like positive thoughts and concepts. So to change the content of the thought to be virtuous in nature, and to learn to actually abide without being caught up in thoughts. So actually to be free of thoughts. And then, so one of these two, if you can abide with single pointed focus upon like virtuous concepts, then if you can abide without concepts at all, this has tremendous power. It even has the power to cure cancer.
Drong, you have muted yourself.
Volumes right now.
Right. So yeah. So this have to have feeling, different feeling. Okay. Sometimes the work you ignore. Okay. Only ignore works. I said something. You come up suddenly very angry. Okay. Or something problems. Suddenly. This content you're not feeling good. At the same time, you can delete. So just sort of ignore. Okay.
Delay, you mean?
Try to delete.
Oh, delete.
No, delay.
Delay.
Delay. So try to delay. Okay, just okay. I'm not talking to you. So then just whatever, like for example, somewhere we angry goes away. But the long run, this best not best solution. So I said we tell ngachota sem bi body said sem pamaji go one mandova sundu konaji pikina ranji towaji gona near book is.
So it has the mind not getting caught by the thoughts. There is a quality of real vivid clarity in that. And there is this really distinct not falling under the power of the thoughts, and together with that there is kind of a gladness or joy.
And also I back to sleeping. Okay.
He wants to talk again about sleeping. Yeah.
So interesting. We grow up, right? So we grow up in Tibet. So we are lucky now. Is everyone almost every bedroom, one bedroom, this and that. But we don't. Okay. So the most Tibetan family is 10, 12, 9, maybe more. That's much people. Grandfather.
All
father,
sleeping together.
Sleeping. Sorry, this sisters, brothers. I say maybe 10. So whatever we sometimes somehow we sleeping all in the one tent. Sometimes we small tent, maybe these children don't maybe sleeping, wake up and separated, but mainly it's the one tent. So I grow up is the no issue with the sleeping or no issue of somebody making noise or somebody making talking.
That's changed.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
So so this reason is so the reason is I think it's okay, somebody may be talking, somebody sleeping. So I think they both don't have concept, okay? Somebody is speaking, talking, I think, or somebody sleeping there, or maybe not talk, or they sleeping before, no worries, or maybe I cannot sleep tonight because they have people talking. So they don't have the concept, both sides. So there's no issue. Also, the sleeping, interesting too, really did not sound. We think, very noisy, they cannot sleeping. Maybe yes or no. But you think, big noisy, but you don't pay attention, you can sleep in. But depending, even the small, tiny, nosy, you feel, oh, this nosy. Yeah, then you can sleep. So this, everything comes down to the mind. And also I saying, we want something, waste something. Whatever you need to do and not fight. Okay? If you try to fight, you will never win. So, okay, now we back to the fight for Fatma. Okay.
So I just want to be clear about it. What you're saying, or it seems to me, is that your concept is what is creating your focus on it, making it an issue.
Yes.
Without the concepts, there's no connecting to it as an issue at all.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
But however, we get there very difficult, you know. So interesting. We said like in the Dharma text, like there are martyrs, enemies, there is demons. We're saying a lot of things. So that's true. So our concept is really demon. Also, ordinarily, I think every country, right? Demon or Mara, or we thinking the Maras harm to us, right? Always the concept, right?
Fear,
Make suffering.
Fear, Drupon? Fear?
Fear, or right. So we feel so okay, Mara harm to us, nobody.
We feel that Mara is harming us.
Right.
Yeah.
So we thinking Mara means like scary, like non-head or something. But it is their Maras, it is their demons. So with what is demon? It is all mind. All mind is real Mara actually, on concept, because make something. So there's not such things, maybe in the external, I don't think there are no Maras or side or demons. But it is the Mara, or it is the demon, it's all mind. All mind makes it very difficult, you know, very, very difficult. So interesting, this like president, okay? So how much he have protections or external things, you know, God, army, mission. But so the army or his bodyguard, take knowledge, whatever, can protect external things. But the army or bodyguard cannot stop his thoughts. His own enemies there, you know. So that's real Mara. So powerful Mara, you know. So,
Can you use the interchange concept and perspective?
yes, absolutely, yeah. So that's a good question. So
I didn't fully understand the question, but I guess you're right. Does it also apply with respect to perception?
Can you interchange concept and perspective?
Perspective.
Perspective, yes.
So is concept and perspective the same thing? Okay. No, then the penanamto dang dushi draw chikbarebe.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just say that because I know some people don't know.
The number to wiki condition draw.
Oh, so perspective is a better word to use. Sure. Yeah. So he thought you were asking if you can change your perspective.
Oh, no, I know you can.
Yeah.
So represent, were there a lot of like mental disease in Tibet, for example? Because it seems like there's a lot of depression and loneliness, kind of like as a world disease right now. There's a lot of it. And it sounds like what you're saying is that people are just thinking that they're alone. And that there's this concept that we're separated, but it's just a concept. We really like, none of us, we're all one, we're all together. But so is all this disease caused by just this repeated message that we've been like, I guess, throwing out in space or something? Or is there a lot of those type of things there, over there?
So first I'm going to try to summarize your question, and then I'm going to explain. So it sounds like he's saying that, so first the question is, in Tibet, was it that like during, and was it that there wasn't so much disease as in specifically mental illness, like depression,
mental health crisis here,
like neuroticism or
and then he was wondering, is that because right now in our Western culture there is an epidemic of a lot of mental issues, such as mental illnesses like depression, or for instance, and is that really actually something that is created by concepts, like such as the concept is I'm so alone, or like loneliness, is that whereas actually we're all connected, and so if there's a different perspective, then perhaps there and maybe in that there's a question of, is that something people can have control over?
And what to do,
And what to do. And I think there was more to it, but anyway. Dini, okay, Hakosongi.
Ina that the channel lava na days in that in the related casino almost. Nina yang so Karsena the pen of chop under Wimbina Terawa. Yasho very, very good education your system, education your boys. Yina yang Tina Tambo de yang Chorang Chigore is a machine and Mago under which page. Rang which not rely anything that would contain the Wojik, Chium be Kabla, Yina yang go Tiniji Namaji Yoritina, what am I to make him at Ango, what can be problem with Chagios. When a poor Yina yang, some together with you, the Pamayu, somebody with the Pameke, Puu, somebody, Wally sense. For us, they need to rely on the Chidimat, Honga, Parikanya, Gumari, somebody with you. Paviking Abu Kanya, Gomazamatini, Yomar, Koranti, relationship,
So he said actually he thinks part of this is because of the emphasis on individualism in our culture. And that actually in the West, like on the one hand, it's really good because there's a great system of education, but together with that system of education, there is this messaging like you should be independent, and you don't need to rely on anyone. And so what happens is that people have become individuated to an extent where they're not actually understanding the degree to which we really rely on one another. And so there's sort of this thought of, I can do it myself, I find my own way, I do my own thing. But in the end, actually, we need to rely on others. And so he thinks this is part of the issue. Whereas, for instance, in Tibet, it isn't like that. There's a real sense of understanding kind of the collective whole and the need to rely on one another. And so it's a big, kind of family, like the parents know the children are there and they rely on their children and their children rely on their parents. And there's just more closeness. And so in a worldly sense, it is necessary to have some understanding of the importance of like the collective whole and depending on one another. Because, whereas here, sometimes there's this thought of like, even between parents and children, like I don't need to rely on my parents. I do my own thing. Parents don't feel they don't need to rely on their kids. They do their own thing. So there's just this individuation that's happening, which is perhaps connected with the depression.
Yeah. But interesting. So the more I think I never see. I don't know. Maybe at Tibet I was there. Maybe not much population. So not my news. But I never see. The depressions. So I don't know. So
he didn't really witness depression
Yes.
among people in that much.
But also I think this helps a lot. There's another thing, Buddhism. Absolutely, they believe karma. So that is, I think, one thing Dalai Lama told. The Tibet situation is like very, very bad. So everybody knows, right? But Dalai Lama said, if the Tibet know Dharma, then maybe like many people, how people maybe become crazy or just dissociate. So that's kind of situation.
Or become what?
Situation that Fanny.
So
Casey number le junde the number Hamagona.
mhm,
Yina Yanko Kanye Tiniji T or it Yina Yang Koji Tino Gomen Bacha Ko Taruti Sogu.
So if they didn't understand karma, cause and effect, then definitely like probably a huge like even majority of the population who underwent that would have become crazy, or they would have killed themselves, or but because of the understanding of karma, there is this ability to endure.
And also this lot of respect too, interesting. So sometimes we are free, just one thing. Maybe there's, I think maybe we cannot say 100% bad, like on and children or parents. But in the Tibet, majority, so also even though these days, so the education is, children is more education than parents. But parents more experience generation to generation. But sometimes parents, I heard many stories, parents or maybe wife or father and son. So maybe different plan, different opinions, different
View kind of
view,
on the world.
but the many stories, okay, I thinking like this is better, but the father said, I doing father said,
So the child thinks, oh, I think this is really the right way, or I think this is better, but I'm going to listen to my father.
Right.
This is what
So
my father
that
says.
is kind of like really kind of satisfied, so sometimes we hear like a disagreement, okay, this is better, you just, but not like that. Feeling is really happy, okay. He sees maybe different way, at the same time, he's really wishing to what father said.
He wishes
doing
to
the father
do what
said,
his father says.
he's satisfied, he's enjoy. So I did right in choice. So that's kind of feeling is like individual like closeness to parents or to whatever relationships.
Like a tribe
Mhm.
feeling.
So then also sort of like everything rely on, so kind of rely means kind of support each other. So then here just kind of automatically like not that deep closeness, close. So then sort of like, loneliness, then issues. So maybe so. Okay, so now you.
No, I was gonna say, there's no word for depression, is there?
I mean, there, I mean, when I say depression, I say a sad mind, which is obviously
That's
not quite the
English.
same thing. I mean, I know, but the word in
Yeah,
right?
simply,
And what do
yes.
we say? Is there another word
Same to
for
I don't think it's
depression?
depression.
Yeah,
Not Nyomba,
simchoa. Mhm.
Inner anger.
they discard depression.
Yeah, right. But he knows that depression is different. So yes, in
Maybe
brief, there's
strong
no
simchoa.
word really in Tibetan, right? Simdo. Simdo.
Symptom is upset. I know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about depression is it's like that. Well, in America or in the West,
And the
we
depression kita koji constant control chim.
symptom.
In the West, depression is considered anger turning
Mhm,
against yourself.
mhm. But I think the thing that
A
is
lot
a
of
little
Tibetan their
bit,
names probably can be got.
but the thing that is maybe the distinguishing difference is that it's considered something kind of chronic, right? Like if you have depression, you can't control it. And it's something that is like a continuous state that you can't change without medication. Whereas I think all of the words in Tibetan are about describing temporary mind states. So-
this is more like a mood, like a thought is
It's like a
depression is
natsa,
your
natsa.
depressed mood. It's like
Yeah, it's an illness. I mean, it's an illness. It's not, it's so.
It's an illness, it's a disease.
Right. Yeah, but also this they also using genetic, but also those kind of thing is first the mind met up. Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But like, okay, I'm gonna try to make this as clear and concise as possible. The concept of the wilderness yoga, Lakpa, like, to me is radically individualistic, in terms of being totally self-dependent, completely isolated societally. How does that fit into this, relation to communal, communal collectivist, whatever.
So the question was like somebody who, like a yogi, essentially, who goes off and meditates on their own, giving up everything, giving up their family in the wilderness. He said, that seems like a very individualistic path. So how does that fit into what Drong Rinpoche was talking about collective interdependence and reliance on one another? Or lap go sanare in Bukele.
ri tatiha ko sam.
Okay.
Ina yang ko ri thambula inji ko. Yang chu la kan
Okay, so kongi pena now jorpa yena tene changma lu thong tene par rang chipu wemba sacha wemba dro tene tata churang lapa di pena me changma pinsu na be tin yorwa tene di dang chapar gare yore
ri taterewa tedo or take something. Pena sanji chumden de ke tene ta ko jerti dang tiga na particular koran ke parents, wife, children, is Koran ro yorwa. Yine yang ta tela ta masivi kita Koran ninje chembo. So ta pengone tuya tela reality ta jil to yorwa konso. O tiga na yi ke jik tanda nga zo jing korwa da tini pa yor dina yang korwa pa zidu 지 거랑서 단단한 이게 parents study relationship 또 정말 한다고 말이지. 틀레 빼면서 양고 ordinarily 되네. 리 빼는 인지 체요.
So it actually is not in conflict at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite because the motivation is extraordinarily great compassion. So if you take, for instance, the example of the Buddha left behind his entire family, his child, his wife, his parents, and he, in leaving them behind, however, it was out of great compassion that he did so. And actually, in the end, he ended up bringing benefit to, liberating his entire family because, and it wasn't actually many of them came and joined the order of bhikshus and bhikshunis. So it actually wasn't like a complete separation in the sense of what he was talking about before. It's actually not based on like the individual mindset, but actually out of great compassion, that solitude is sought. Does that make sense?
So same way others. Family.
Yeah, so it's really the same.
Okay, so now we didn't start. So.
Is it already time?
Now I lose, okay?
Were we? Oh, we were still at Yidam.
다라니 혀가 공부 돌제 당지는 바에 장대 교과라 토가마가에 의제하고 동바가 주도 자라다게 법에한다 자자 저게 뭐 용풍모 뭐뭐 주고 당 제고 서번에 맞아장이 예와 집에를 가요 뭐라 이미 뭐뭐 배송해도 뒤에 예과근들제 당행이 년바당 나와 담지 하 타파 담지 나 저도 담지 뒤에 예과 남게 또 지니 제로와 인발공사.
So then in the text it says, then from within that state, out of emptiness on page 1 at the bottom, out of emptiness arise a lotus and sun seat upon which lie the corpses of Jigche and Dutsema. Standing on top of them with the right leg extended is oneself as the blue Heruka, holding a Vajra and bell, ornamented with the 6 mudras and wearing a tiger skin skirt, a crown of 5 dried skulls and a garland of 50 freshly severed heads. You are embraced by the consort red Varahi, who holds a curved hook knife and skull cup and is adorned with the 5 mudras. The Yabyum Heruka appears, yet is without substantial nature, like a reflection in a mirror. Think that you are the self-nature of all the Tathagatas combined. All appearances are the deity, all sound is mantra, and all mental activity is the enlightened mind of all the Buddhas. Perceiving it is the play of Dharmata, meditate. So it is important to talk a bit about the symbolism, of all of these aspects of the deity's appearance. The 5 dried skulls is the crown ornament, the garland of freshly severed heads. All of these aspects, of the symbolic kind of appearance of the deity from the worldly perspective or in context of, the context of the world, we might be like, ooh, why?
That's all Karsananga. When a Yamyam schedule say or Yamyam schedule say not thinking that's not such ordinary thinking tomorrow. 양용 시절 세야 가서나 다 가장 공시인 바 미게와 가는 용이 요르도 마차 미게와 중사데 노차 시당 때문에 라고 노차 안에 되네 자와 뒤좀보다 3% 라고 그래 root 가서나 노차 시당
Wait, should do shot should Timokson. So Jigyur Sena? The Yidam Jigyur, Yavium Jigyur?
Yeah.
Jigyur Sena?
Union.
Oh, okay. So then, so first of all, we have the union of the male and female consort. And so what, what is that about? So first of all, when we, as we discussed before, what is the source of all suffering and non-virtue? The origination of all suffering are the three poisons, the poison of desire, anger, and mental darkness or ignorance. And so, didn't DJ la garila in?
What that team 다들이 차단이 놓아서 잡아도 당원이. 차단이 되라. 배나 다 차단이 뭐 답이나 되네. 차배기야나 용 타바. 되네. 다 당원들아 타바. 야. 어디 들리지를 뭐 차단이 뭐 다 손이다. 손하라고 이가 된 거. Yes.
And so, but if, so mainly, so there's the root of ignorance, and then from ignorance, you have the constant play of the two, desire and aversion, or attachment and aversion. And so, for example, the fully purified essence of attachment is the female, and the fully purified symbol or of the embodiment of aversion is the male. And so these two in union also represents the full purification of the mind of attachment and aversion.
이 코란이 원이 지난 차단이 부분이 유년 차리다. 빼는 도자지 끼리나 뒤 땐들 때는 딱 방화지 레벨이 아니면 다 추사다. 그 유년도 보다 유년이 얘는 다 너저 차단이 뭐 다 손은 다 비켜 손이 있다고 지금 리얼 유년도 오지 그러와 원의 유년도 오지 이치 다 뒤손이와.
And so if you think about it, actually attachment and aversion is a union. It's an inseparable union, because if attachment is there, there's already aversion. The moment
impossible, you something attached to some or whatever. So I don't think there never happened single attachment.
That there's just attachment and no aversion in
like this,
relation
just
to that.
Immediately aversion or anger, hatred, jealousy come out based on first, maybe I said that, attachment. And then immediately next one come up. So that's union always together. So
and so then when that pair, that union is fully purified, that is the true union. That is actually the union that is being expressed here by the union of the male and female.
그거는 이 장가서 돼 저월 토감은 아이가 제단 사실 받으라 대출만도 있는 저월이나 오다 아이가 근데 달라 자꾸 그냥 이담도 소이나 토방안도와 토방 아이가.
So then there's also the symbol of the crown or the diadem of the 5 dried skulls. And so you see that most of the wrathful and semi-wrathful deities have this ornamentation of the crown ornament of the 5 dried skulls. And at the same time, so this is the same as what the peaceful deities have, which is the diadem or the crown ornament of the 5 Buddha families.
다 태양, 되네. ngaje chado 다 독nga요. 독nga 다 내왔더라. 티 탁페 모었더라. 되네. 다 파이렉나 샤고리. 제가 나 얘기 양 자와렉나 야비용 지비고 지 변나시 렉나더라. 와다티 자와렉나 총지리스 자와렉나 되게 달라야 얘기는 거です.
And so what they represent in both cases is the purified essence of the 5 poisons, the 5 poisons being arrogance, jealousy, attachment, aversion, and ignorance. And so they, in the case of, say, the peaceful deities, they're the 5 Buddhas together with in union with the female Buddhas, the 5 Buddhas of the 5 Buddha families. And so again, they are a yabyum. They are like the union of male and female.
어다 대양한테는 다 용바 집에가 양태요래. 양 유년디 힘바 유년지 가리올라비는 배나 가서 엄보 메케 엄보 요와라 때는 유메 통베기 유텔 때는 근데고 다 디니 보고 제가 이거 스탠드다 다들 가서나 엄보게 그 메이크 엄보 티게 통야다다 유년자 다로 스탠드 그 유년스 라브레스
Kung tajamati the Java the Wampo.
다 엄보가 다 유가 야타로 봐.
And so when there is the presence of the afflictive emotions, there's another type of union. There's the Imperial Union that occurs, which is the sense faculties going out towards the perceived objects. And then their interactions, which just perpetuates the mind of discursive thought and afflictive emotion. And so these two are always kind of intermingled. They're always united. That the consciousness or the sense faculties and their interaction with the objects of the senses. And so when this is purified, then this union in this case of the 5 Buddha families represents is the purification of the sense faculties and the purification of the objects. So both the faculties and the perceived objects become the nature of purity. So both are fully purified.
제가 나이다 대성을 딴 거래. 상하다 다를 많지. 단단하고 나가서 집에서 들어오라고 되게 배치고라다 이 스틱 러브요. 이나 많지지 냐마 다리나 다잖아. 그거는 이미지로 다지 되네. 그렇게 또 그거.
And so secret mantra is all about symbols and signs. Everything is symbol. And so that's really what all of this is it is rich with symbolic meaning.
제가 나이다 기타 인천창 마치 진짜 상하디고 말해. 근데 제가 너희나다 지 냐마냐마로 written language 시라요지 마타 그 상하게 잘합니다. 이나테 제가 written language 요래가 해요 말해. 이나야 다로 땡고 다로 야만 책랍나 한선을 책 있는 예갑니를 보고 차고나 책입니다. 근데 history benefit history 동 history 도저라 야보도 계셔 팔아 초라 마자비요나리 두고치요나리 카르치요나 책하시지 마 이거 말고.
And so actually this is not in the context any longer of secret mantra, but in the past, also the point kind of being is that actually there is so much about experience and expression that is symbols and signs. So like, for instance, in the ancient times, even like before, say, there was a written language, then communication was primarily based on symbols and signs. And so even, for instance, when you had kings communicating with each other, and even once there was a written language, then often the communication was actually very limited. And you see this when you look at like the Tibetan, like the history of the Tibetan kings or something like this, that there, in communication between kingdoms, there would be maybe very few words that were said. And these very few words could become the cause of like a great alliance, or they might be the cause of, say, going to war. But in any case, the communication was very limited, like the verbal
And-
communication.
And also as far as not direct, something problem or examples, but they didn't say just, I doing, you do this, not like that. So just make or symbols or saying is different. Example of the sun, moon,
Like hidden
mountain, your ocean or something. So they understand. Even the interesting story is like communists, like Mao time.
Communism. Mhm.
So this the story is so during Mao time is so like men have to the Maoists took entire Chinese. So he took over. So there's thousands of years there Chinese came so on, but he took completely. So the main guy.
So he overthrew the monarchy.
And so the main guy with Mao in the Zhong Yili and also Deng Xiaoping together and took over the Tibet, so on, like kind of like main guy. So Deng Xiaoping is like the state of secretary that time.
Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, but then Mao overtook completely. So then there are disagreements. Actually, before they have many smart men like with Mao, like Ling Biu, Liu Fuqi, so on. So they just chopped out. But Deng Xiaoping and Zhong Yili still together. So Zhong Yili is very smart. So their issues, but working together more. But one time, so Zhong Yili, he's sick. So he's old, he's sick. And then, so one day, just during the meeting, I'm not sure exactly, but then Zhong Yili give to one like the baked potato. No, I said I did bake or not, that's what I create. So like one potato, okay? One potato, put a knife poking the potato, you give to them.
You gave him a potato with a knife in it. poked
Knife in it,
Mhm.
poke, and give to the Deng Xiaoping.
No, Ting Xiaoping.
Deng Xiaoping. So Deng Xiaoping. So yeah, Deng Xiaoping is Chinese powerful. So he created new constitution, but now these days we already changed. So anyway, then that means Deng Xiaoping understand. So Zhong Yili died. After that, then Deng Xiaoping put it here. So that means Zhong Yili killed Deng Xiaoping. So they understand. So that time is something. Otherwise, with communication, oh, maybe you care for problems. If I die, maybe you're going to prison. So that's kind of like So similar is the distillate method. Okay? So we say what is bad, we just image and many is totally different. So okay, so maybe purification.
We'll do the short dedication. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Dragungpa Ratna Tree, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
And also, everybody knows somebody, he make the really good wood carvings. So, in future, something if we need to some small tables or something.
So what he's saying is, maybe it's clear, but Sampa is an extraordinary wood carver.
Yeah, you
This is
can see
Sampa.
whatever he's doing, everybody can see.
And and you can go see what he's doing for the new shrine room in the wood shop on Naden's property. It's just exquisite. And he also makes a lot of decorative art, like both to hang on the wall and also, he can make meditation tables and things like this. So if you're interested in having something, commissioning something, or maybe purchasing something from him, you can speak to him.
Okay, thank you.
Say we're talking a little bit about the building.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you want to do that now or another time? You plan to do it now.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, I want to go to pee.
Okay. So we're just going to take a short bathroom break. Maybe a couple minutes. So thank you, everybody. We'd like to make a couple of announcements just around the retreat. So we're going to take about 20 minutes or so to go over some points about the building project, just to let people know who are here, don't know much about it, or some people at home who are on Zoom, to let them know what's going on with the building project. And also just kind of give a sense about what's happening in Drong Nor in general. And we wanted to also introduce a silent auction that we're doing on behalf of the building project. And so I'll say a few words, and then we're going to invite Lincoln up, who is the facilities manager, and then Drupal Rinpoche will say a few words about the building as well. And as many of you know, the building is under construction, and we hope to complete this year. And to get to this point, we've needed to raise $255,000. And so as of November 2021, we began a fund drive. And due to the generosity of a number of people, what's that?
He's got you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The board, the officers, Sangha members, we've been able to raise $115,000 so far, give or take, which brings us the building fund to about $200,000. So to reach our initial goal, which is 255, we only need about $55,000 more dollars. And there'll be more funds moving forward, but this will get us to the point where we can open up the building and begin to have activities in there. Did you have a question?
I do. For the people that are online, will they be able to?
Yeah, James is gonna show everything. So we've received everything from $20,000 donation to $10,000 donations to $5,000 to $100. Yet with the pandemic and all other things and inflation, we're still a little bit behind schedule. And so these donations will nonetheless allow us to complete construction. And so this is really a thrilling time for Drong Nor in our history. We've been operating for about 10 years now. And the new Dharma Chakra Meditation Hall, which is what it will be called, will allow Drong Nor to have many diverse activities, offerings to the community, and allow us to expand our operations. So for example, one of the ways that we're expanding already is Drupan, Rinpoche, Virginia, Bloom, as well as Kuntruk Dorje are receiving a salary. We've been able to invite Sampala here to help with some of the decorations, as Drupan Rinpoche was saying. We've also expanded our operations. We have now King of Aspiration prayers every night. We have 4 ongoing events every week, and a number of other things. And so once we open the hall, we'll be able to have opportunities to invite Drikung Lamas, masters from other traditions, and many, many, many different opportunities. What's that?
Speak more.
Slower. For the translate. Okay. So with the larger capacity and space, we'll have the opportunity for additional offerings of study, practice, and other things. And so we anticipate having more varied programs for the Tampa Bay community, as well as in the future, maybe hosting more Drupchens, perhaps even the Drikung Kagi Longlang, and the possibilities are endless. And we've also expanded, not just here in Tampa, but we've also expanded throughout the country and even throughout the world with our dear friends in Venezuela helping us. Thank you so much, Soldi, for all your hard work there in Venezuela, translating for all our friends. Thank you so much. And we hope to expand even further moving forward. And so this all being said, this couldn't have been possible without the endless and tireless work of Jupan Rinpoche, who is out there every single day, working from morning until night, as well as Konchuk Dorje, as well as Sampala, who's been here, as Drupan said, who is a world-renowned Tibetan traditional wood carver. We have the opportunity to, we'll show some of the pictures of his work in just a few minutes when Lincoln is speaking to everybody at home. But I just wanted to say a couple more things, just thanking everybody here, of course, and thanking everybody who is also, of course, Drong Ngur is a nonprofit organization. So not only that, everyone here is a volunteer. All the work that is done is by volunteers. So we have many different people. So the board of directors, Steve Dorn, Preston Davis, Patricia Stabler, Konchuk Nadong, and Konchuk Tarchin all serve on the board of directors. And then the officers who are in charge of the operations, we have Paula Testa, who's in the finances, Melanie King, who is in charge of the media, Virginia Bloom, who's our secretary, Lynn Dean, who is our events coordinator, Lincoln Crone, our facilities manager, and myself. I was recently elected as the president. And so I just wanted to thank everybody and just take this as an opportunity, not just to rejoice in this opportunity that we have, but also perhaps to have a moment to contribute in whatever way we can. And after Lincoln speaks, I'd like to say a couple more things about the auction, and then maybe we can offer to Rinpoche to say a few words if you'd like about the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me or Lincoln?
We were thinking Lincoln first.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way.
So there's probably not a lot more I could add to that. I think many of you do know the history of the building, and you can see for yourself where we are. The main part of the construction is getting close to being completed, but there's always more to do. Drupan is always sharing with us his vision for making it into a pure realm in terms of decorations and other ideas and places to sit and meditate outside on the ground. I'll let him talk about perhaps the pillar and some of his other ideas. But the costs of everything, of course, are always front and center with us because we are such a small group. Everything has been raised internally with all of the generosity from all the various members. And it's not just money. I mean, we have some very devoted members who give their time and energy and expertise and help with the physical construction, all kinds of different things. And without any of them individually, the group would not exist. And so in terms of where we are right now, we do hope to finish this in the next, I hate to put a time out, but this year is good. Sooner is better than later. And unfortunately, the costs are not cooperating with us. Everything seems to go up a little bit. However, we'll be painting next week. That's really going to be exciting. And then we'll start putting some of the various aspects of the building together so it'll look more complete. As soon as the drywall happens inside, all of the carvings and the shrine will come together very quickly. We'll put in the flooring. We already have the seating together. So it'll actually come together pretty quickly once we get to that place. We're right on the edge of being able to put the walls in. So we look forward to that. The external grounds are mostly done, although there's going to be some other things. And so other than that, I don't know what else I would add to it. our budget is always a changing number, I hate to say. So anything that could be done in terms of membership or contributions or generosity, whether it's money, time, expertise, whatever that happens to be, is always greatly appreciated. And as Damien did mention, we're a 501c3 organization, so anything that is contributed is deductible for what that's worth. So thank you very much. I do appreciate things.
Thank you.
Thank you for the initiative.
So yes, I think we are Dharma practice, study and practice. It's very important. So then in order to be, Dharma, our teachings, practicing,
James?
also we have to place. So always I thinking, really important to build a monastery in the Tibet and Asia, India, so on. So, but there is really a lot of monasteries, Yes, they build another monasteries, great. But always I thinking a monastery or temple or center is most important in the West. So I see is that some Westerners sincerely, Dharma practice, practitioners. But sometimes we don't have the place, So, or also we have, generally we don't have support. So, which means we go outside, nobody's, chanting. We cannot see the monastery and nobody's, farewells. And there's no, or whatever, monks or nuns. So then, even though beginning, they sincerely are willing to practice, but slowly forget because of the no place. So very, very important is in the West, or temple or monastery, and also particular place, some meditation or teachings, very important. So that's why we really focus to build. So that is really Dharma practice. So always we're talking about how benefit before build the monastery in Tibet, how much merit, so on. So also here, so we really is the really good establish in the temple or here start practice place. So this is not only our life, okay? This benefits generation to generation, generation to generation. So also someone, or donate money or work or whatever involved this temple or this center. So your merit, increasing higher and higher, okay? So generation to generation until you achieve enlightenment. So that is very important. And also the past, you already mentioned. So release the moderators, like each the $20,000 so on, so many, and really appreciate. And also, we planning to build the pillar, stone pillar, right? Stone pillar, stone pillar. Okay. So if you give to the more than $20,000, you have to write down there.
So your name will be included engraved on the pillar. Anybody who donates 20,000 or more will have their name engraved on the pillar.
So this is also some people they want, some people not, but also for example, people rejoicing. You see, with this history, buildings or maybe 100 years ago he did this, 1,000 years ago he did. So maybe we are, I don't know how long here. maybe younger couple of years. I don't know. But otherwise, 20, 30, maybe more, I don't know, maybe 40, 50, we can say.
Years
Then-
left to our lives.
But buildings still there, remaining. Practice for there, pillars there. So I hope, so these hundreds, thousands. So we see, monasteries, temples in Tibet, India. So that's a great merit. And great, actually, I saying this, I personally appreciate, whatever donations, help here, many ways. I appreciate and rejoicing. And also as well as, this is really opportunity too, So this is we did many times, our life. So, but that we doing this most, I think, meaningful way.
The most meaningful thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lunch time.
So the last thing that we're gonna introduce today is, so one of the things that we're doing, at least this week, in order to support this, is a silent auction. And so Nadun has been, thank you very much for pushing. Nadun has been so kind enough to put together some of these documents here. And so we are gonna be doing a silent auction with a number of different items. So there's 2 statues, a Vajrasattva statue, which the auction will begin for that statue at $100. And then this gold Chenrezig statue, which will start at $525. It's about a 4-inch statue, beautiful, beautiful statue. And then a pendant that it's a handmade deity pendant that has the hair of Garchen Rinpoche and blessed by Garchen Rinpoche. There, and then that will start at $50. And then we have a stupa. That stupa, about a 6-inch stupa, it is going to be starting at $300, excuse me. And then this is a handmade necklace here, and then we have 2 tankas as well. A white Tara tanka, incredibly beautiful white Tara tanka, that will start at $500. And then the last one will be a green Tara tanka that will start at $500.
And then Nadun's
Oh, and the excuse me. And then we'll get to that in a second. James runner across the room here. Yeah, and then he will, and then the green Taratanka, and then a white hand-painted syllable by Consort Nadun. And so these
and that
items
starts at $250.
That starts at $225.
$225.
Right, $250. Excuse me. So each of these items will be up for silent auction. So if you'd like to be a part of the silent auction, you can find the paper here, and you can just write your name on it. And at the end of the retreat on Sunday, we'll just see how that auction goes, and we'll announce the winners, so-called winners.
So on the sheet, you put your name and your bid.
Your
right?
name and your bid, yeah. And then for people at home, if you'd like to participate in this, what we're going to do is you can just send your bids for any of these items to drongnor@gmail.com. And then we will collect those bids and compare them to those in the shrine room. And we can always be back and forth about the evolution of those bids as they are ongoing in the shrine room.
Are the starting bids posted?
Yeah, they're on the sheets.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it for, did you have questions? Yeah,
Just
please.
one quick thing, people that may be doing this from afar, then the shipping costs might be included, right? That kind of transit fee.
Is the
In the
shipping
bid-
included?
if
in
they-
Right, so the
If they-
shipping,
if
well, we'll
they
have to,
don't
if one of the people who wins the bid, we will have to work out the shipping costs with them personally.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Thank you so much, everybody. So we'll return, we'll have a 2-hour lunch, so we'll return just about 2:30 for lunch.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
2:30.
2:30.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Damien. Thank you.
Oh gosh, it's one of a kind.